Cool. Hello everybody. I'm going to talk about LNbits. LNbits is a piece of software which I started, but we have lots of great contributors coming into the project. And it was because of a number of issues I had when I was developing hardware. Like if I had an ATM and that ATM needs to be able to spend funds effectively, I would have to give it my admin macaroon. And if someone hacked into the ATM, they could like take all my money off my node. So I needed like a buffer, so like a wallet system where I could give the ATM the admin key for that wallet, and then it would just have a limited amount of funds in it, so they couldn't access the whole of my, all my funds on my node. There was that issue, and then the other issue was every time I developed something, I'd have to make like 6 different versions of it, or it'd be like, oh, I've made this thing for C Lightning, or I've made this thing for OpenNode, or I've made this thing for LNpay or something. Like, so I had to keep having to make different versions, or just make like some software or hardware which should only work with one thing. So it sort of made sense that there would be like a middleware layer, something which is nice and easy to install and set up, and it's just got a very simple API which you can plug into, generate wallets and accounts and things. And then as well as that, I and then a bunch of other people in within our kind of like circle of friends and developers in the Bitcoin world, we like to play around with the sci-fi, future technology, future money. So we want to experiment with like a little slither of functionality, but we don't want to have to keep repeating all the wallet stuff which people have to build when they're building a service on top of a node, a Lightning node, for example. So we wanted like an extension framework as well, which we could do that with, kind of like WordPress. You start off with something very simple, and then you extend it in any direction which is relevant to you. So if you're a cafe, there's a bunch of extensions for cafes and shops or whatever. Or if you're a content creator, there's a bunch of extensions for content creation. So for example, the extension I'm using right now is a Streamer Copilot, and this is renders a screen together with a price, a Bitcoin price, and then if you pay an amount to the QR code, then it will trigger like like a little animation, like it will trigger some confetti, or you'll have like a Bitcoin face pop up or something. It's just a way of people being able to stream sats like when they're doing content creation on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. So I made this extension because I do some YouTube stuff. So you can also add a webhook as well. So when someone pays that QR code, it then triggers an event somewhere or something. I'm quite interested in hardware, so I've made some gizmos like a smoke machine or something which will get triggered when you pay that QR code if you really want to. So this is one example of an extension. And I think I can screen share through it. So I haven't really tested this functionality of the extension, but I shall test it now and then see if it works. So I think this is the bit which is going to confuse me now. What do I need to press? Do I press? No. Oh, here we go. So can everyone see my screen now? Am I sharing?
Well, yeah, but it's a bit weird. Oh, yeah. You are sharing the screen, but it says, "Do you want to share?" So maybe close.
Oh, you can see the "Do you want to share" screen. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so confused. Oh, here we go. Craziness. Oh, even crazier. Well, I've just got to click on the right one, and then we'll be clicking on gas. Okay. If I go over here, so that's all that craziness stopped, and now am I just in the corner? Yeah.
Yeah, you're just in the corner now.
There we go. That's
just a bit wild.
Yeah, it's a bit wild, but you could probably see this is the remote, by the way. So where I can do share screen, and I can actually trigger some events. So you probably saw a rocket now come on the screen. Did you see a rocket?
Yeah, you see the rocket. Could you move the remote like to the middle?
Oh, right, because it's in the way of the QR code.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, very nice, very nice. Okay.
Too many things going on here.
Yeah, this is craziness. Well, so basically, like with the Streamer Copilot extension, it also has a little remote, so you can like share the screen and do things like that. So that's why that's happening. So all that stuff which you can see is composed in another window, which is then being fed through OBS and then fed into Jitsi. But anyway, so if you go to lnbits.com, there's some information about the project on there. There's a link to our repo. And then there's 2 links to different demo servers. There's the Legend demo server. So originally when we started LNbits, we wrote it in Python, the API in Python, and then the front end's written in this framework called Quasar, which is like a Vue.js framework. It's very good actually, but it takes care of a lot of the design stuff for us. But then also, there's lots of people who would like it to also run on something like Go, because it's more of a modern language, and has all this sort of great async functionality kind of baked in into the language itself. So we also have the Infinity demo server. The version of LNbits which we're pushing and testing and has sort of the most traction of people working on it and developing right now is the Python version. We're trying to get it out of beta and then get the core of the Python LNbits version locked down, and then also our extension framework. So you'll have kind of like an extension experience, a bit like WordPress, where you search for a plugin or extension, and then you can download it and install it. Currently, all the extensions are just kind of like bundled in with the software. Once we get the Python server to that stage, then I think we're going to play more with the Infinity Go version. But I will say, if people are interested in playing with the Infinity Go version, that is kind of the more experimental one currently. And then the Python version is kind of the main version, which we're kind of running on. So there's a little bit of information here on features. This is just like a splash page for people if they go to lnbits.com. There's some information about the different frameworks using Quasar, Imagine, which is running on Fast API, which is a simple Python API framework, and then Infinity, which is running on Go. And there's some links to our YouTube channel, and then a list of LNbits things which have integrated LNbits. And that's about it there. So if we go to the actual demo server itself, this is the demo server. Oh no, okay. So this is the repo. If you go to the repo, there's an install guide, all the stuff you'd expect to see on a repo. It's a relatively simple install, actually. It's like 5 lines, 6 lines to get it up and running on a VPS. We are trying to make this give other install options, make other install options available. So we could have like a one-click install clearnet LNbits through lnbits.com, which I think people find quite useful. But once it's up and running and you've installed it on a server, and then in fact, what's the best thing to do here now? If I'm open, so say if I go to just the server itself, this is what you get. Okay, so when you run LNbits on your node or on your on a VPS connected to your node or your funding source, and then you first go onto it, this is what you'll see, and it's very easy just to spin up a wallet. Here we are. I have a wallet now, and then this wallet has its own API credentials, so I can use this for my ATM, and I can just have enough funds in here for my ATM to use, and then just keep topping it up if I want to. We have API details here on the right-hand side, but then also, if you go to lnbits.com, actually, because we're using Fast API now, that was sort of a recent upgrade, and hit docs, then there's a really nice sort of Swagger thing for all of our different API endpoints, which are currently in LNbits, which is pretty sweet. So if I make a new wallet for this particular user, then that new wallet will have its own API keys. So, nice, easy functionality. As I said, I'm going to switch back now to one which I've already kind of set up a little bit. So this is a wallet which I've already started using today. And I've sent some sats to it, and then I started playing around with some of the extensions. You can see here I've got my Streamer Copilot extension. And then if someone, pays so 4 minutes ago, someone paid to trigger an animation, and then that's popped up in my wallet there, which is pretty cool. The other ones which I've kind of set up because I want to show you is LNURL device. So this is something for connecting to hardware specifically. I feel like I'm running before I can walk. Let's take a step back. So this is your basic wallet system which you can use, and it has like a nice, you can see all the invoice, all the payments coming through. We use tags to, like the Albi guys were saying, to sort of differentiate between different payments, and then exporting to CSV. Like we had, I was running a point of sale in this bar in Berlin which accepts Bitcoin, and then one of the features which the owner of the bar wanted was just to literally export the transactions to a CSV file so we could import into QuickBooks. So real world feedback. There we are. We have it there. It's fully responsive. So if you use it on mobile, then it looks nice. It works like a mobile kind of app would work. You can also save it to your home screen and use it like a web app, which is pretty cool. If I go to manage extensions, you'll see that the vast array of extensions we have here. Let's move him over there. The vast array of extensions we have over here. As I said, currently we're still quite at the point where, I mean, it's quite overwhelming, but we haven't got like hundreds of extensions, so we can just package them in with the software. But this will, when you go to manage extensions very shortly, maybe in the next sort of 3 to 4 months, we'll have like more of a kind of WordPress experience where you'll have some featured extensions, recommended extensions, and then you can search, and then you can go find an extension, then install it from from the cloud somewhere, pull it down and install it into your LNbits. But currently they're all kind of packaged in. So let's have a look at a really simple extension. This is one of the first extensions made by one of our contributors, Tal. If we open this up, this is a TPOS extension. So this is to make, say if I'm a cafe and I'm running LNbits and I want a really simple point of sale, which people in my cafe can use, and they can accept. So let's do this in pounds as well, create TPOS. And now what we get is we get this little link here. So we click on this and there we are. We have a really simple point of sale. Now this is shareable and again, responsive. So it'll run on a phone. If I press the little hashtag thing here, I get a QR code. If I scan that QR code now, just with a regular normal QR code scanner. Oh, come on, camera. Tap to scan, yes, please. Okay. Using QR code, the regular normal camera, QR code scanning functionality in the camera always sucks for me whenever I use it on a mobile phone. Let me switch to an actual QR code scanner. There we are. So if I open that up now, I get a point of sale, and then in that, I can make a payment, and then it instantly converts to sats. I can hit OK, and then it generates. There we are. Whoops, Daisy. Then it generates an invoice somebody can pay, and then when that's paid, you get a little tick. This point of sale, you can't get any wallet details from the point of sale itself. It's kind of like air gapped. So you're fine to like give this out to all the people in your cafe, your bar, whatever. They can accept payments on their phones. They can, they can press a little hashtag and they can pass it on to the next person who's coming in for that shift. Or you could print that QR code out, put it in your cafe or your bar, and say if anyone comes in and ever asks for Bitcoin, scan this QR code on your phone, and then use this to accept the payment. Again, it's fully responsive. And then the payments themselves, we'll probably see a couple of pending payments there, which haven't actually settled. But here we are. We can see we've got some pending cafe. Oh, there we are. Someone else sent me another 10 sats. That's nice. We've got a couple of pending cafe payments because obviously didn't finish the payment. But then we can see that it's come from this point of sale. You can make multiple point of sales actually for all the different people in your cafe. What I might do is minimize this because I don't think I need it quite yet. No, there we are. What else? Okay, so let's have a look at another extension. So that's a simple point of sale, very useful. IBEX, the bank in Guatemala, when El Salvador first started accepting Bitcoin, they actually made a whole product just out of the TPOS extension where they would just give it to bars and cafes, and then they would accept Bitcoin payments, and they could go to IBEX and then exchange for cash. And then one of their products now, their main product, which they're rolling out, is really useful, is now completely based on that concept. It's pretty cool. So what have we got? A paywall, so you can paywall content like a website, for example. You can create a new paywall. You can put in a URL, and then someone's got to, you give them a link, and then when they go to that link, they have to pay to get access to that URL. We have lnurl-withdraw. So if anyone knows what lnurl-withdraw is, get your wallets out now because I'm going to give you some free sats. Let's do the quick vouchers one. Actually, this is good for like an event, like a conference, for example. So I got 21,000 sats in here. A decent sum of money. I'm going to connect to that wallet. I'm going to say withdraw amount per voucher. Okay, so 1,000 sats per voucher, number of vouchers. I'm going to say 10 vouchers, create vouchers. So these are like withdrawal links, which you can scan and get money from. Have you got those Lightning wallets out? If I click on view LNURL now, then somebody can scan that. They can get the sats, 1,000 sats, boom. This why it's good for a conference is you can actually click on this little print button here, and you can see I've got all these QR codes here. And then each one of those is worth 1,000 sats. So you can print those out, cut them out. This is actually a standard sticker template as well. It's if you go on Amazon and look for like a 5x2 sticker template, then you'll be able to find a sticker template. So you could put this in your printer, print them out, make stickers, stick them around your town or village, or take them to a conference, whatever. In fact, they're in Hong Kong. Leo, one of our LNbits, one of the people in the LNbits community in Hong Kong, every year, I think it's the New Year, they make these lacy things, which is like a red envelope, which people would put money in for kids and they would give it to kids. Well, he does these Bitcoin ones where he just puts those little, withdrawal links in there and these red cards and then hands them out to people. And then people can actually pay to like order 1,000 of them or something. So it's pretty cool. So that's lnurl-withdraw. You can do a more advanced version of that where you can set like a max and minimum that somebody could withdraw, and you can put a time in as well. So you could have like a repeat payment link. So when you scan it, someone has to wait, I don't know, a minute or 2 minutes until they can pull more funds from it, which is kind of interesting because then you start to think, well, this could be used as a token for like a direct debit. I could mint one of these where somebody can take X amount a month. I could, when that, $5 a month, I could give it to Netflix, and then they just pull $5 a month. And if it doesn't work 1 month, then they just kill my subscription. So the power of LNURL. So that's lnurl-withdraw. Our lnurl-withdraw extension is pretty nice. Because Fiat is one of the main contributors towards the LNbits project, and also happens to be the guy behind the LNURL protocol, we were lucky that we had a lot of LNURL functionality really early on, so it enabled people who had nodes like a Raspberry Blitz or an Umbrel to very quickly get access to the LNURL protocol, which was nice. LNURL Pay, so this is to be able to make a static QR code, which you can then pay. It hasn't got like a simple version, but you can do this. So okay, bolt fun, and then what should we call this? I don't know, just tips, I suppose. And then you can have it as a fixed amount, or you can have a variable amount. I'll go for a fixed amount. Shall I create pay link? And this creates something pretty much like what you can see on my screen now, a pay link which you can just pay repeatedly, and then those funds will just go into that wallet because I connected it to that wallet. What else we got for extensions? Okay, let's have a look at the LNURL device. So what's great about LNbits is you can just build a little bit slither of functionality for the thing which you need to build for. So I'm interested in making these little points of sales, and I've been doing it pretty early on. I was sort of making them about 4 years ago, and the LNbits kind of came out of that experience. Like I said before, that having to make like an LNDC Lightning version. Now I just make an LNbits version, and then it's up to the user as to what they plug their LNbits install into. The more recent version of that is called LNPOS, and you can actually run this. This is offline right now, and the way it works for LNURL device. So when I want to program this thing, I create a new LNURL device instance, call it POS2. Can again connect it to a wallet, give it a fiat currency it's going to be denominated in. You can actually set a little profit margin, little cheeky profit margin there to rip your customers off if you want to. And then it makes you this string here. I copy this. I upload it onto this device, and now this device is connected to my LNbits server. What that means is, so in this string here, what have we got? We've got the actual, let me close Telegram just in case I get doxed. We've got the actual endpoint for the server, and then we've also got a secret as well, a shared secret, and then we've got a currency. And we have the ID for this particular POS. So all that information is on here. Well, in fact, it's this one, which is actually on here. It's linked to this. And this is offline. So what I can do is if I put in, this isn't really anything to do with LNbits, but it's kind of cool. If it's denominated in USD, or GBP actually in this one. If I press 1 penny, and then press the hashtag, watch this now. Boom. See how quickly it generated that QR code? That's because it's an LNURL Pay and it's completely offline. So I don't have to go fetch an invoice or any of that nonsense. And then the way this works is when I press the hashtag, it randomly generated a 4-digit PIN, encrypted it, included it in the pay link in that QR code. And then if I scan that, go on, you bugger. Here we go. It'll say, okay, so that's 30 sats. 1 penny is 30 sats at the moment. Okay, I pay that. And then once it's paid, if you can see, once it's paid, I can open this URL here, this little link I get, and it gives me a 4-digit PIN, 5062. That was the 4-digit PIN which is generated on this device, then passed through the QR code and encrypted to the server. If I press this little hashtag, okay, 5062, so I can verify that the payer has paid, and this doesn't need to be online, which is really powerful, particularly if you're a street seller in El Salvador. Also, this thing only costs about £15 to make, which is pretty cool. Just showing that you can make, if you have something and you need to connect it and do lightning payments, then you can LNbits is great for that, because you can just make this little extension which sits on top of it. So now when I click on here, I should start to see some transactions coming in here. Did anyone? Someone managed to get 1,000 sats. That's pretty cool. And then here we are. We can see that POS payment which just came through in 5 minutes. There's a bit of a bug there. I shouldn't really be saying that, but there we are. Something to look at. So yeah, that POS payment came through there. I've already shown this extension yesterday, the day before yesterday, but this is the Spotify Jukebox extension. Again, very cool. So as I said, with LNbits, you can extend it in any direction which is relevant to you. If you've got a bar, why not, the music which is playing, why not allow people to pay for that music and stream some sats that way? So I've got a jukebox set up here. And then if I open up Spotify on my phone, which this is connected to, and if I play Cool. Okay, so I've got a song playing. Right. Now, if I go to the jukebox, wait, there we are. So my song's playing. If I go to my jukebox, you can see the song which is playing there. I want to play Aqualung by Jethro Tull. Creates an invoice. Let's see if I can pay this before the song finishes. Pay. Hopefully this will now get queued. Jethro Tull. So we should hear Jethro Tull now. Go on. Oh, no, it was Brian. Oh, the wrong one. Was it Jethro Tull I paid for? Oh, there we are. I wasn't quite quick enough, so another song hopped in the queue before me before the song was over. But there we are. My song, which I paid for, is now playing on my phone. So this means the cafe can plug this into their speakers, share this page on a iPad or whatever, or have a QR code people can scan, and then there's playlists which they've got access to, and then people could just click on a song and then play the song if they want to. There we are. We can see Aqualung playing by Jethro Tull there. So that's pretty cool. This was based on a project from a Lightning Hack Day, actually, the one we had in New York a few years ago, by this guy here. So, what's quite nice about LNbits as well is we can give kind of little props, and then also like give it accreditation to the person who's developed the extension in there, which is pretty nice. Again, we have API endpoints for this extension, so you can actually start using the API endpoints for different extensions. So you can include LNbits as part of your stack, and then you can make use of some of these extensions for this weird functionality which we've been building. For example, during the lockdown, where is it? We all needed cheering up. And DJ live stream. This is a great extension which was developed by Fearchaff, and basically like it gives you a QR code which you can put on the screen. Now what happened was DJ Crypto Graffiti did a DJ set, and then it was videoed. They had the QR code on the screen. If you paid enough money, you would get a link to download the song, and then with every tip which came in, the payment was then split between 10% to the DJ and like 90% to the actual music producer. Well, we all became really excited about that concept of payment splitting. And then VHF then made us a really nice specific split payments extension. So if I open this up now, I can select a source wallet, and I'm just going to say all funds which go into this wallet from now on are going to be split between this wallet, and then I can add like another wallet and another wallet, and then I can put a tip sharing percentage, so like 20%, 30%, and I can put in all these different wallets, just put in their wallet IDs. And this starts to become really interesting when you think about like a micro venture, like a coffee shop, where when someone buys that cup of coffee using TPOS, the money goes into a wallet, and then it can be split across all the people working in that cafe without any, money management stuff. It could just be split by percentage. On that, earlier today, very cool, someone got in contact with me to do with the Bulk Fun. Actually, they're working on a project as part of the Bulk Fun hack event, which is nice. That's what we want to hear. And they've made a WooCommerce shop, which themselves and a couple of other designers are selling T-shirts on. And they've used, so, LNbits is great, and you can build and plug into it. So one of the things you can do is like plug into it with an integration. So we have a WooCommerce integration here, so you can pull this into WooCommerce, and then you can accept Bitcoin Lightning payments for your products which you're selling. So they've done that. They've set up a store, they've installed the plugin, and then let me close this here. They've installed the plugin, and then they've said that so if someone buys a T-shirt, the funds go into a wallet on LNbits, then it gets split to all the people who've been working on the project, and then some of the money goes into another wallet for like, so I think it's like 70% goes into the main wallet, and then 30% is then split across the participants of that particular venture. I find that extremely exciting. It's kind of that Nick Szabo social scalability stuff of, I know we're just doing it through database flips, so it's not particularly, fancy, but the concept, when you have micro payments, of being able to take a payment and then split it into lots of little wallets, and it doesn't really cost you anything to do that, I think is very powerful and interesting. And I look forward to them hopefully showing that the website they're working on during this event. What else have we got? User manager. So say if you're one of our main developers, Kali has been great. He set up a Lightning tip bot. on Telegram, and he's got LNbits powering it in the back end. and LNbits manages all the users and wallets and stuff. And then the tip bot then communicates to LNbits. He uses the user manager extension, which if we open up here, in here, like this user can create new users and then have access to those users and can create wallets for all the different users they've created as well. So if you're and it's got all its API endpoints here, so you can have this user as an admin user, and then they create all these wallets for for your backend, for your service which you're running. What's been great about Kali is and his input is he's had a lot of traffic on his tip bot. So he's all the sort of scaling issues which he bumped into as well, and we've been kind of able to put our heads together and fix those, which has really helped the project. I mean, obviously, everything works perfectly until you actually use the thing, doesn't it? So he's been using it, which is great. So we'll be able to plug a load of vulnerabilities and whatnot, and it's great. And he has a lot of transactions and stress tests the whole environment. What else do we have? We have Hivemind here. This is pretty cool. So this extension is a placeholder for now. Hivemind is this is kind of like a bit of a protest that we want this particular bit 300 to come in, so we can create the sorts of extension which this will be allowed to create. So that's kind of a bit of a troll. Sats Dice, this is marrying lnurl-pay and lnurl-withdraw, and then creates gambling in a QR code. So I select a wallet. I call it small game. And then minimum bet size 10, max bet size 1,000. Haircut, so the bank's going to take 5%, and I'm going to go a 1.5 multiplier. Okay, so if I pay the QR code, I've got a 55% chance of winning 1.5 what I put in. All right, the actual odds would be 60. Let's go for actual odds. We won't put in a haircut. Create Sats Dice. I'm more likely to win then. So now if I click on this thing, this is a gambling QR code, okay? And as with a lot of these extensions, they can be worked into and improved. And we could put some provably fair stuff into here. So I've got there. So I'm going to pay 10 satoshis. I'm going to gamble with 10 satoshis. Okay, paid. And then, okay, I got a link. Open the link. Hopefully I've won. No, I didn't win. That's sad. Let me try again. I have the worst luck. So when I was like debugging this thing, I kept thinking that it was broken, but actually I've just really bad luck. Let me try 20 sats. High roller. Okay, so pay. Let's see if this doesn't. Let's see if. Oh, I lost again. I suck. Yeah, just really unlucky. But if you win, oh well, let me play one more time. If you win, there's a play again button on here, so I can just do it through my phone without having to scan it every time. If you win, you get a link to a lnurl-withdraw, which is one of those withdrawal links which I showed before, which somebody took 1,000 satoshis from, and then here we go. Go on. Oh, I lost again. This is ridiculous, isn't it? I got a 60% chance of winning, and I've lost 3 times in a row. But yeah, if we had the provably fair stuff, you could make a real high roller game in there, and yeah, you could make that, I don't know, like a 100 million satoshis or something, and then you could put that up somewhere like, I don't know, Piccadilly Station in London, and then you'll have some high roller Bitcoiner can see that it's provably fair, and they'll be gambling with a QR code. I hate gambling, but I just think having a casino through a QR code is pretty cool. And again, if you've got a bar, stick one of these bad boys up in the toilets and the urinals when people are doing their business. They can have a little flutter and see if they win some sats. It's pretty good fun. What else have we got here? Blesco Map. So the Blesco Map, for those who don't know, fantastic project. It's a DIY ATM project. Again, offline. In fact, that was the inspiration behind this thing. And in it, you can create a Blesco Map, and again, create that relationship between the server software and the offline ATM. And so when you put the coins in, it then generates one of those withdrawal links. You can get the funds. Your phone then communicates to the LNbits server. The LNbits server says, yes, this is a legitimate withdrawal request because it's got this key and a thing and a token. And then it will pay them then the money. So it's just a way of having an offline ATM, which is pretty cool. Also shows that other projects can make use of LNbits as well. Subdomains, if you have a domain name you're not using, you can connect it to Cloudflare, then connect it to the subdomains extension, and then you can have a front-end page and people can rent your subdomain for like a day, 2 days, a month, connect it to their servers, kind of cool, making use of all those domains which we troll, we gather up. What else have we got? Events. Events is a great extension. So if you have an event like I don't know, like a hack day, for example, or a workshop, I can go to events here. I can create a new event. Okay, so what should I call it? I'll call it a workshop. I'll connect it to this wallet. Make LNPOS, and then closing date for tickets. Okay, it's going to be, okay, that's my closing date for tickets. Event begins, event ends. Okay, amount of tickets, do 100 tickets, price per ticket, 10 Satoshis per ticket, create event. All right, now what have we got here? We've got 2 links. If I click on this, somebody can come in, they can put in their name. I'm Ben, I want to join your, Ben at gmail.com. I want to join your workshop, submit that. Okay, get an invoice to pay. Ooh. Let me see if I can pay that. Pay it. Right, now I get a link to a ticket. And then here we go. Here's my ticket, which I can print out. And then all I do, I'm just going to take a photo of it, actually. Oh, yeah, this isn't going to work because I'm using the camera for my demonstration. So I'm not going to be able to show you exactly how this works. But basically, you get this ticket, you print it out. And then on the actual event on the day, you've got this other link here. You can see this is me here. Okay, and this is my ticket. Can you click on this thing? Oh, yeah, there we are. That's got a link to the actual ticket itself. But if I clicked on scan ticket, if I didn't have my camera connected to the thing now, I would be able to scan that QR code. It would go bleep, and it would register that person as attending. And again, this is a completely shareable link, which you could share with your, your bouncer or wherever you've got under the doors at your event. Yeah, so pretty cool. So that's the events extension, and then it just goes on and on. We've just got all these great extensions. It's ridiculous. We've got too many good extensions to look at. Okay, offline shop, amazing idea. This, okay, so this is one of Jeff's as well. Great for like a market stand or something. So you have a word list, and then you can add items to your shop. If so, each item has its own LNURL pay, and then when you pay it, you get the next word in the word list. So I go to this stall, I pay for a can of Coke. They have the word list behind the counter, and then I got to and the link, the receipt I get, it has platypus in it. I say platypus, and they're like, oh, okay. The last person who paid got octopus, so that sounds about right. You can also change this to your own word list, which is pretty cool. And actually, this is kind of a good leeway into showing how you can develop your own extension. So I was thinking, on one of the shows we talk about the price, and you've got a magic 8 ball, and we shake the magic 8 ball, and then it says whether it's going to go high or low or whatever. And I was thinking if we could randomize this, the way these words are given to the payer, then you could have like a magic 8 ball thing. So I've cloned this entire extension, pulled out loads of it, which I don't need, and kept the functionality of basically making an LNURL pay and then returning like a random thing from a list. And I've been working on that. Where is it? It's probably up here. Oh, I might not be actually connected to that branch, but yeah, this is called 8 ball. I thought you could probably use it for like tic-tac-toe as well, or battleships or something, or some game. Anyway, so while we're here, let's have a look at the back end. As you can see, each one of the extensions is just its own folder. So if I go into an extension, which is like LNURL device, for example, and let me open LN ticket as well. You can see they're basically the same. You have like your views for your different pages, which people can go to. Then you've got your API kind of back end. You've got some tasks. You've got your README. So each extension has got its own README, and we encourage people to kind of like, fill that out to explain to people how to use these extensions. Declare some models, migrations for the database. The CRUD, so this is connecting to our database, from the API, for example, when we're creating and deleting and entering data into the database for this particular extension. And then we have the front end templates. So like this is the front end template for this sort of area here. And then we usually have like a public page. So for example, this is kind of a public page, which is you can share and people can use and access, as is this. You know, this is kind of a public page. So usually find that there's some templates for the public pages too. And then probably, is this one of my one? Yeah, I'm a bit messier. So quite often my JavaScript is down in the bottom there. So I imagine if I have a look here, yeah, I've got some JavaScript down the bottom there. Let's have a look at a more professionally made extension. Ooh, Blasco Map. I imagine they've got, yeah, look, they've got their own JavaScript file there. It's better. Okay, so each extension is basically a folder, and when I'm making that what's it called, 8-ball extension, I literally just took the offline shop extension, cloned it, did a word replace in the folder, changed everything to 8-ball instead of offline shop, and then I'm going through and I'm just pulling bits out which I don't need. And that's how I'm making that extension. So it's quite nice. I often do that if I want to make a new extension. I'll find an extension which has got some of the functions of the extension I want to make, and then I'll just like clone it and then rip into it and fiddle around with it, because they're all kind of very similar. Okay, this sort of back end form and then front end pages. Let's have a little look. What else we got? Support tickets. This is one which I just looked at. This is for paid support tickets. It's kind of cool. So if I make a new form and then a webhook, so I can send this data somewhere like to a Discord bot or something. There we go. Okay, so that's not really asking me anything, is it, if it's just specifically about LNPOS. You could put in a fixed amount, so it's going to cost you 200 Satoshis to talk to me, to send me a little question, or just be a bit fairer, I'll do 10 Satoshis and then charge per word. How's that? Create form. Okay, here's our front end page. So somebody can come along and then they can put in their details and then they can say, how do I install Arduino? All right. Oh, sorry, I selected, I had that as a yeah, it doesn't charge per word. Can I edit this? Sometimes the edit thing doesn't work, but hopefully it does on this one. No, doesn't let me do it. Okay, so say, let me show you again quickly. I won't charge. I'll make a new one and I'll call it form name Bolt Fun 2. Oh, there we are. Oh, there we are. Okay, cool. So now hopefully, oh, there we go. There we go. You can see that it's charging per word now. It's much more like it. That's more like it. And if I submit, it'll generate an invoice. Then when I pay that invoice, running out of money. It's funny when you're slinging these sats around and you think they're not really worth anything, and then a few years pass and you realize you've lost a small fortune. So I submitted it, got a bit of feedback there saying thank you for submitting your form, and then hopefully in the back end there, I should then get, here we go, here's my form here with my email so I can get back to them. Again, this is a very MVP extension. You could work into a little bit more. When we add maybe some email functionality to LNbits, that could just like automatically be sent through to an email, or maybe we could put in like a Telegram handle or something, and it will send it the question to you there, and you could answer it from there. So here we go. So I think that's pretty much it for extensions. Unless there's anything else I wanted to cover. LND Hub. This is great if you've got Blue Wallet. You can select. Well, I won't do this because you could scan this and get access to my wallet. Actually, you can scan it with Blue Wallet, and then you'll get this wallet inside Blue Wallet, which again is super useful. There's a couple of platforms which are using LNbits in their stack. They're using User Manager to manage all their users and all their wallets, and then they're just then using the LND Hub extension. Even though we're not using, this is running on C Lightning, they're using the LND Hub extension to connect Blue Wallet to the LNbits wallet. So they just give them that QR code and say scan this with Blue Wallet, and that's how people access the LNbits wallet, which is running behind their stack. So yeah, that's it for Legend. As I said, though, we have got this new cutting edge version, which is the Go version. Oh, there we are. As I said, it's experimentally cutting edge. So these things tend to happen. But we can have a look in the repo. Actually, I'll just kind of show you how it works. What's cool about this is, 1 second. Too much talking. What's cool about this is, there goes infinity, is as you can see with the original LNbits, there's a lot of repetition of work. So in lnurl-device here, I've had to, repeat a lot of things when I'm writing my extension. And like in the templates area, for example, like in index here, this whole sort of, here we are, lnurl-device, this whole area here, this part is kind of like, this is part of our base HTML, so it's fine. But this area here, we're kind of like repeating work, just with, HTML and Quasar stuff. So the Go version kind of like gets rid of that. Let's have a look here. So if we go to find the extensions, it's in apps, examples, here we go. We see we've got a paywall extension, and the paywall extension here is literally like a config file. So that's a lot leaner than, all this stuff which we've had to write. In saying that though, this is still like a gazillion times easier than developing like a WordPress extension or plugin. It's not particularly hard to alter and change. But there is something very cool about just being able to fill out a config file. And and for its front end page, because obviously the paywall has a front end page which you then share with people. There's just a simple HTML page which you can then share. What this means is that you can host these two files anywhere, just in like a GitHub repo, for example, and then you can literally just like import that extension by importing those URLs. So it's very exciting, very cool, very cutting edge, experimental. But I hope to play with it more as kind of time wears on. What can you do with LNbits? Some fun stuff you can do with LNbits in the back end. So LNbits sits on top of, let's click on here, right? Okay, so LNbits can sit on top of all these funding sources here. But I've actually, this is kind of a goofy thing you can do with LNbits. I've actually made a fake funding source, all right? So originally, say if you built a project on top of LNbits, and it's you've got LNDRC Lightning underneath it. Before, you couldn't do like a self-payment to a node. So the way we worked around in LNbits is we just kind of do a database flip, and then we kind of fake the payment just in LNbits. If one wallet in LNbits is paying another wallet in the same LNbits install, okay, rather than actually touching the node, because it just doesn't need to touch the actual node. What that means though is as long as I have something which it can request an invoice from, and it gives it what looks like an invoice, LNbits will just carry on working. So I've got an LNbits running. This is kind of a cutting edge, weird example of what you can do with LNbits. Okay, so I have another LNbits install here, and as you can see, it's just like the LNbits install I had there. Oh, I didn't talk about the themes actually, silly me. Let me show you themes. If I go back to my actual wallet, here we go. You have like, light, dark, and then we have like, all different colored themes. I quite like the green one, actually. This is good for like a cafe, maybe. Monochrome, El Salvador, garish. I should probably have it on this one just for the, the design community, the Bitcoin design community. I'm sure they'll love that. Anyway, so I have another install of LNbits here, and that's on this server, which I'm running. I'm going to connect. Right, so I'm going to shut the server down. Then I'm going to go to, am I going to dox myself by doing this? Who knows? Let's see. Sudo nano.env. I haven't checked in to make sure all you lot are still there, actually. So I hope the Jitsi server hasn't crashed. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to change that from LNTX bot wallet to fake wallet. And then, okay, I'm going to change this to school token. Probably wondering what I'm up to here. But what it means is that you can use LNbits in a way which is just completely detached from Bitcoin and Lightning, and it's just its own, shitcoin payment server, basically. Oh yeah, look, there is a bit of doxing going on there. And change this to what should I call it? School token ST. Right. So as long as I change those variables in a config file, and then spin that up again. Now, when I refresh it, oh, we've got a school token. and I can create an invoice in school token. And as you can see here, this is for, it's kind of denominated more like you would expect some shit coins to be, fiat coins to be denominated. You can't pay that with a Lightning wallet, but you can pay it with another LNbits wallet from this same server install. So if I take this user ID here, copy it, and then close that down, and then add them as an admin user. Save. All this stuff here, by the way, will be in a nice admin UI at some point. Currently, we have this config file which you fill out, but that's not for long. We'll have the option to also have a nice admin UI. Right. So now, if I refresh this, I get a little plus. So if I go on plus here, because this is my own internal, shitcoin payment server. There we go. Now look all that money I've got, all these school tokens I've got. So I'm in the office in the school. I've made all these school tokens. People can come in, give me cash, and I'll give them school tokens. So if somebody else, like a kid, you want some school tokens to pay for their school dinners, and in the vending machine and using the point of sale, nostify.com. Okay, they can make an invoice. I want 20 school tokens, please. I'm going to copy that invoice. I'll give it to the admin. Pay. Boom. And there we are. I've paid the school tokens. So now we're just using, it's not even connected to Bitcoin or Lightning. We're just using it as a very hardened internal payment server for, say, a school where kids can pay for their food in the canteen. They have a wallet, they can pay for stuff in a vending machine or using a point of sale. You can use it for a music festival if they want to have digital payments, so they don't want people using cash. But they don't want to be reliant upon like a legacy framework or some cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. They could just use their own internal LNbits as its own internal payment server. Kind of a cool fringe use case you can do. But you've also got access to all these extensions. So the school could have a jukebox running and the kids could pay with their shitty school tokens. So sort of an interesting thing you can do with LNbits. I think that's kind of it. Maybe I'll go to questions now. Is this on mainnet? Can you send me a testnet wallet? Yes, you can run it on testnet. You just run a testnet node. So in fact, someone for the hackathon, they're making an extension for Bolt Stock Exchange. So you can set a limit on a wallet, and then when that wallet, say, gets 100,000 sats, it will then loop out using Bolt Stock Exchange to an on-chain address. We've also got a chain market version as well, which is an Ethereum contract of doing the same thing, of looping out from a Lightning, paying a Lightning invoice, and then it goes out then to an on-chain address. It kind of does it in an automatic, cool way. He's been developing that because obviously as soon as you start playing around with on-chain funds, then, and it's on mainnet, you start losing money when you're developing. So he's running Bolt Stock Exchange, have a really nice Docker image, which has two C Lightning nodes, which already have channels between them. And then you can use it to then experiment sending payments from one to the other. And you can run LNbits on that. And, that's a test net. So is it possible to make someone withdraw only once, e.g. based on the address of the withdrawing wallet? I mean, yeah, you just make one, like if you use lnurl-withdraw, you just make a one-time use withdraw, which they can only use once. And then they can withdraw the funds, and you could just set it to the amount in the wallet. If you wanted to do it like programmatically, you could use the API to get the wallet details, find out which is in the wallet, and then generate an lnurl-withdraw for the amount inside the wallet. A caveat is that there's a bunch of like depletion attack type things where people can like make a big fat channel to your node, so you end up routing payments through them, and then they set a high fee, and there's all this like buggery you could do in the Lightning network with a Lightning app. And one way to get around that is we put a fee reserve in, so we always hold like 2% of the wallet balance, because you can only guess what the fee is going to be. You're not 100% sure what the fee is going to be, so we always hold 2% in the wallet. So you can't extract all of the funds out of the wallet all in one go, because you've always got to account for that little 2% slither in the bottom, which is kind of annoying, and there's probably ways around it, but the easiest fix to some of these bugs is just to have that fee reserve. Wallet Satoshi do the same thing. A bunch of wallets do it. Again, why using something like LNbits in your stack is great. We're still beta, by the way, for anyone who wants to use in their stack. So be careful. But one of the reasons why it's great is like these are all bugs and vulnerabilities we've had to like learn to fix over time. If so, anyone who makes like a Lightning service or a Lightning project built on top of a node and it's communicating directly with a node has all these crazy vulnerabilities they're not even aware of. And a lot of those have kind of been plugged by LNbits, which is nice. But we could do that thing in a more sophisticated way. But yes, sorry, going back to your point, you could just make an LNURL withdraw one-time payment link to pull everything out of the wallet. Or you could just if you're the admin and the money's going to your node, you could just delete the wallet and then the person can't spend that money anymore on the wallet.
It's fulmo.org, I believe, fulmo.org. They're a really great organization producing some awesome like educational resources and events in the space. And they also do Raspberry Blitz as well, which I think you also kind of like do some work on, no?
Yeah, so I mean, it is Rootsel from the Raspberry Blitz project. In fact, it was me and him sat in because he came over to visit me, and he was in a little bungalow near the sea because we lived in the sea. It's beautiful. So we came for a little like hacky respite time, and me and him were sat in a little bungalow, and I was like, "What about the name LNbits? LNbits? Does that sound good? LNbits?" And he's like, "Yeah, that sounds right." And I was like, "I'm thinking about writing it in PHP," and he's like, "Fuck yourself. If you write in PHP, it's never going on the Raspberry Blitz." I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to write in PHP." And then he's like, "Oh, can you do it in Python?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do it in Python." And that's so yeah. So he was very involved actually at the beginning of LNbits because of the conference thing, the Insta wallet. So this is even something I didn't even show this. So LNbits. Oh, maybe I'll just. Have I got time to do another share screen quickly with the withdrawals, the LNURL withdrawals? There's still 9 of these left, by the way. So I'm gonna make a new one, but you're not allowed to set the stats from this one. Okay. So I'm gonna connect it to that wallet. Insta wallet. I should just whatever. Minimum withdraw for 10. So I'll just make it 10 sats. Amount of uses. I'll just make 1 second. Create that. Now, so don't scan this.
No, not scanning.
If I scan this QR code, this is like magic. If I scan it with a wallet, a Lightning wallet, I'll be able to take the sats from the QR code, yeah? If I scan it with a regular QR code scanner, close it. Can you see that? Okay, I'm going to scan it. I'm going to go to that link, right? And it's saying, press to claim Bitcoin. I press to claim Bitcoin, and then it makes a wallet for me, right? I refresh it. Come on, payment, you can do it. Oh, somebody claimed it in mid-transit. That's cheeky. What it does, it generates an Insta wallet. So if someone hadn't scanned it, what happens is the LNURL withdraw, which is this QR code here, part of the LNURL withdraw protocol is you can have a prefix. So you've got the LNURL, which is this big long string. Where can I put that so you can see it? If I put it here so you see it. Okay, this big long string here. See that? That's an LNURL. What you can do, though, is you could add a prefix. Oh, this is really cool functionality. .com and URL, blah, whatever. You can put any old prefix you want in, and as long as you've got a question mark, Lightning equals, that means that your wallet Satoshi or whatever will be able to strip out the LNURL and then just milk the LNURL. But if you scan it with a regular QR code scanner, you're essentially just doing a GET request to this URL, yeah. When you go to that URL. And then it's up to the server what it wants to do with it. So what LNbits does, if you just turn up to whatever the link was, whatever the link was, that link there, if you just turn up there with an LNURL on the end, an LNURL withdraw, it will make a wallet. Then it will fund that wallet with the LNURL withdraw. So you get an Insta wallet. It's pretty cool for like if you're doing an event, like a conference, for example, and there's going to be a load of no coiners there, you could print out all these LNURL withdraws on a bit of paper, cut them out, and then people can scan them with a Lightning wallet and get the funds. Or if they just scan them with a regular QR code scanner, they get an Insta wallet, which is an LNbits wallet, and they can use it in their phone, just like any other phone wallet. So it's kind of a cool little LNURL hack. Someone had actually created like an instant wallet in a browser for one of these Bitcoin conferences. It was the Chaos Communication Congress in Leipzig in Germany, and but it was very basic, very rudimentary and basic. But by using this LNURL prefix, we were able to do it just by print loads of these QR codes. Mm-hmm. And Bruce was actually the reason we have like a quick voucher thing from Raspberry Blitz. So the idea was that you could just create loads of these QR codes, people scan them, and then they can have wallets on their phones, and they can just go experience stuff inside the conference instantly. So actually he's been quite involved development wise, and like feeding ideas to things we can do with LNbits. And Formo, like if it wasn't for Formo's Lightning Days, that's where I first started playing around with the electronic stuff. And for like 2 Lightning Days, I was literally trying to get the sweep machine, one of these sweep machines here, to had a little e-paper screen, had a microcontroller. It generated an invoice, you paid it, it spit sweets out. I spent like between 2 hack days, because I hadn't gotten anywhere basically, and I was just picking people's brains at the hack days, trying to figure out how to get the QR code on the e-paper screen. Like that was just killed me. Honestly, for like it was like almost 12 months. Like I was constantly every now and then chipping away at this thing. And then eventually when I did that, I then realized you could add a keypad, and then I could make a little point of sale, which was that's the original point of sale there with the e-paper and the little keypad. And then when I went from that, then I sort of tried to experiment with different screens. So that's an old like Nokia 2410 screen. Is it still working? No, it actually just about fits the Lightning invoice, which is pretty cool. Unless you've got root hints on, then it doesn't work. And then I did some tutorials for them in different conferences. And Ken Sedgwick, he's part of the Blockchain Commerce Initiative. I gave him a kit with a keypad and an e-paper screen, and then he went away and made LNbits, I can't really tell what LNbits kit or something, and it's like a crypto box. We had a nice like 3D printed box, and then eventually over time, I realized I could do it offline, which meant I could have a smaller QR code and use one of these little tiny screens with the microcontroller attached. Then the company which manufactured these microcontrollers, realized it was popular. So we had this hat thing which we made, and then from the hat thing, then someone has donated a nice 3D printed box. So you've got like a nice evolution there of point of sale. But crikey, to get to that from that initial idea of just having a sweet little e-paper thing, so that's like 4-year hobby right there.
Wow, thanks so much for sharing that. I didn't know that was the whole journey of it. And I guess in between that time, LNbits came about there because you're needing to like interact with the get those QR codes and stuff like that, okay.
And I'd be able to swap out funding sources and things.
That's definitely what you call scratching your own itch.
You got to do it, man. This is why, like, for inspiration, like the worst, because the amount of times you bump into a developer, a good developer at a Bitcoin conference, and you're like, "Oh, you're working on anything?" And they're like, "Oh, I haven't really thought of anything yet. Yeah, I'm not really. I don't know. I haven't really thought." And you just like, just start, just do something, start something, and then you'll just hit some issue, and then you've just got to build something to fix the issue. I very much kind of promote that work approach to wanting to contribute to stuff. Like, just get involved, even if you don't really know what you're doing. Get involved, start trying to make things, do things, and then that's what inspires you to then do more things.